to you, my fellow Dark Ones. How are you guys doing today? How's life? Today we're going to start the episode by playing with your favorite mod. We're going to try and make Molten salt mixture. It's fluorite and beryllium. The thing is, if you look at the quest line, you might notice chapter 6 is here and chapter 7 is very close. And the best part is chapter 8 is closer. So basically what I want to do is that I just want to roll forward as fast as possible, so I want to be prepared. Unfortunately, chapter 7 also has 3 resource miners, but thankfully those resource miners all use the same fluid. Limbo of Pixonia, which we are producing, and Galactic matter. Galactic matter requires molten blah 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 blah. And that is what we are going to try and make. It's way in the future, but I want to be prepared. So for the past hour, I have been in this room trying to figure out what the hell was I doing here. But fun fact of the day, I just noticed that our hydrogen black hole tank is full. Didn't know you can do that, but yeah, we were not producing any oxygen, so I had to put the electrolyzers on voiding hydrogen. Well, not voiding hydrogen, voiding excess hydrogen. So the most important fluid that we have to produce over here is going to be fluorine. We are actually producing it here by electrolyzing hydrofluoric acid. And then we're using it in order to make beryllium crystals. Well, beryllium fluoride crystals. This guy over here. We have 2 lines for producing sulfuric acid, 1 line producing us hydrofluoric acid, and 1 line producing us boric acid. However, this line that you see over here was for sodium, that one is for potassium. And the other fun fact of the day is that we don't really need potassium or sodium anymore, because we're using Tick Reborn. So let's fix this system. Okay, so there have been a few changes. We have this tank of hydrofluoric acid. Using a liquid phase, it goes into 3 electrolyzers, and we're getting fluorine, which goes inside this drawer. Using that fluorine and also the melter that I have up there for melting down beryllium, will making beryllium fluoride. That's one of the fluids. The other fluid is lithium fluoride, so I have a melter with an EMC link, and that gives us molten lithium. If we mix it with fluorine, that is molten lithium fluoride. Then molten lithium fluoride as well as molten beryllium should go inside the salt mixer, and that gives us the molten blah blah blah. So again, that is 50% of the job. Now we need plutonium. You're the salt mixture, right? Yep. Okay, you're off the list. So we just need molten Ep239 fluoride fuel, which comes from molten Ep239, come on, which is this guy over here. How do you make it? A bit of a problem. In order to make this LEP fuel, what we need is plutonium 239 and 242, correct? So there are different ways of getting plutonium, and we're almost using every single method. You know, we're getting small piles of plutonium dust, we're getting the ingot, we're getting the dust. We are even making the different isotopes from a mod whose name I shall not mention, but there is a problem. I don't really think it's enough, so I came up with a solution. We're going to have 2 giant reactors. And by giant, I really mean giant. Well, as usual, we have to start with another quantum link so that we can have access to our applied energistic system here. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to export thorium, like so, into some isotope separators. What we want to do at this very moment is to make a stupendous amount of TBU fuel. Also, do you void items? Cool, because we don't need this isotope of thorium. It's just garbage. I have been hoping with full upgrades you're going to be more stupendous. That's not amazing, but it's a good start. We can't burn it fast enough anyways. Now what we need to do is to design the reactor. So we need a ton of cells, and I have been ordering a ton of cryotium coolants. And since this reactor is not going to generate a crazy amount of heat, we're going to go with a checkered board pattern. Yeah, the cryotium cooler has to be touching 2 cells minimum. So this is going to be a valid pattern, I guess. Well, I have filled in 1 row. Let's see where we stand. Let's have a port and some TBU fuel. Yeah, we're good. The interior has gone through some changes because it was too cold. Well, not too cold, but it was pretty cold. So after a while, I just started spamming cells. And well, this reactor is super fast. Every 9 seconds, we're going to get a depleted TBU fuel. And that's exactly what we want. So funny thing, I just made the TBU reactor. You know, we built it together, but then I was like, I don't want TBU, I want LEU. Specifically, this LEU fuel, because I want plutonium. So I switched it with LEU235, and then I remembered, no, it was the TBU, because I got confused with the isotopes. So what we're going to do is that we're going to redesign this reactor. Also, we're going to make it taller. Instead of the original checkerboard pattern that I went, I'm going with this one. It's inefficient, but it should be hotter. And I think hotter means more fuel consumption? Well, we will see. So if I give you like a TBU fuel, heat is fine. Okay, so we can just spam cells. Like that. I have filled in the entire reactor. I have switched some of the coolants with some cells because we had excess coolants, and now we are burning a TBU fuel every 5 seconds. That's amazing. Actually 6 seconds. Still, amazing. And at this very moment, what we're getting is this isotope of uranium. That's what I wanted. Also over here, I do have two isotope separators, which are separating the isotopes of uranium. Uranium-238 goes directly into our system, and 235 is being reprocessed. I had an extra drawer. I'm just converting it back to bigger chunks, you know, with a hopper. So it's gonna take a while. Anyways, we need to make another fuel. LEU-233. Because after being consumed, it's going to give us tiny clumps of plutonium-242. And half a stack of that. That's what I actually want. I do have a huge backlog from our previous reactor system, but that's only 53,000. It's not increasing. I mean, it does, but it's very slow. So let's arrange this reactor as well. The difference between LEU and TBU is that it generates 3 times more heat. So I can really not go with the same checkerboard pattern that I use with the TBU, because this is gonna melt down. So I think here's what we're going to do. On the 4 sides, we're going to have this checkerboard pattern, which generates a lot of coolant. And in the center, we go with this one, the column. I just want to be able to burn the fuel faster, otherwise this is not efficient. I know. And honestly, if you want to make it efficient, I don't think it's going to be worth it anyways. Because this guy almost has 1,200 cells and it generates 500,000 RF. Also, probably we're going to need 2,000 cells. Let's fill it in. I'll be right back. Placing down 2,000 blocks takes a lot of time, so can we use the building gadget? Ah, I like cheatiness. We just have to make sure it didn't place anything on the outside. Maybe that's a 1.20 thing. Wish it had a checkerboard pattern. Or something. Can you do stairs? Oops, I shouldn't have done that. No, we're good. This one I'll place manually. It's not worth crashing and loading the entire mod pack. So let us check if this reactor is going to be cool enough. Okay, that worked. So the second reactor is also full of cells. I did not fill it in completely because that is the speed that we're burning the fuel. It's like every 4 seconds, so it's faster than that one. And that creates a teeny tiny problem, meaning that we don't want this one to work faster. Let's remove some cells. If the other one is working at 6 seconds, I really prefer this one to work every 6.1 seconds or something, because otherwise we will never have that isotope of uranium in our system. Okay, 5 seconds. And maybe also this row of cells. Yeah. Oh, it's still too fast. It's actually 95 ticks, so I have to remove more. If you are a bit confused as to what I'm trying to do, is that I'm trying to synchronize the reactors. This guy works every 6 seconds. This guy should also work every 6 seconds. We just reached the 100 tick. Now it's exactly 5 point something seconds, meaning that we have to remove a teeny tiny bit more. It's actually quite good because these cryotium coolants are quite expensive. Well, they're not expensive, it's just time consuming to make. I literally removed everything in the center. We're still at 5 seconds. So I don't know, we remove 3 rows from here. Why not? Yeah, okay, we're at 6 seconds. So I'm just gonna remove like a few more cells so that it works a teeny tiny bit slower. I do understand that this could have been a way smaller reactor, but symmetry is important. Okay, now it's fine. The first reactor is now processing TBU fuel every 6.3 seconds, I think, and this one is a teeny tiny bit slower, so that we will get a slight backlog of uranium-233. However, since that reactor is working every 6 seconds, then we don't need to produce TBU faster than 6 seconds. I have removed some of the speed upgrades from the isotope separators. That seems to be fine. Yeah, that seems to be every 6 seconds. It's a speed upgrade thing, I can just add a bit more, or you know, remove some. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our mega power plant. It kind of happened. I wasn't planning on this. I really just wanted to cover the reactors, but somehow we ended up with a building which is 13 chunks. And I'm not joking, you can literally count. It is very true that at this very moment we only have 2 reactors inside, but later on we will have more. Because at the end game there is something called Einsteinium, which we need to convert it into something which we need for the end game. So yeah, there are going to be way more reactors here. We are going to get back to this building later today, but let's make the reactors operational. Well, obviously the reactors are operational, but they're not automatic, meaning that they don't really get the fuel. So here's how we are going to do this. And yes, this is my owl. It's been tainted. We're gonna keep him. For each of the reactors, I'm going to have a crafter from RF Tools with an export bus. Since we need to export 2 ingredients, we're going to have a capacity card and some acceleration cards. In order not to have a crazy buffer, we're going to fill in the inventory of the RF Tools crafter, and we're going to export uranium-233 and 238, like so. And then we're just going to have a pattern for the LEU fuel and, well, basically that's it. It should get faster, don't you worry. We're going to export that LEU fuel into a phantom phase, which has shall be linked to a reactor port. Like so. So now the fuel is going in. Perfect. For the other one, I just noticed we don't really need to have a crafter because we are making the TBU fuel. We just need to link this one to the reactor. A phantom face. So again, another reactor port to the phantom face. And I don't know, we export TBU fuel. That's it. Yeah, you're working. The reason that I'm using a phantom face is that this is a loaded chunk. This is not. The reactors are. And well, extended AE has a teeny tiny bit of a problem, meaning that if this is a loaded chunk and then you have a cable in an unloaded chunk, and let's say for example you have a machine over here, the entire system is going to shut down, even if it's one cable. The normal AE2 doesn't really do that, it just ignores that part of the cable. So basically what I'm doing is that I'm trying to save on chunks, and for the moment we don't really have anything over here, so these chunks can be unloaded. And if you guys remember, we have done all of this in order to get plutonium-242 and 239. We're actually gaining it, which is good. Also that one. So let's make the molten salt reactor fuel. Oh, and by the way, this ingot from Tech Reborn, the plutonium ingot, can be converted into plutonium-239. But these are passive productions, you can't really speed them up. We needed an active passive setup, majigabob. So anyways, let us get back to our flebleble. There are two ways of making the flebleble. One is that we just use LEP239, and well, that's an expensive recipe. But if we mix the plutonium-242 and 239, that's a more efficient recipe, because you get 239 at a very slow rate. The only problem is that instead of having like 2 machines, you need like 6, I think. I have been thinking, maybe instead of producing the fluid here, it's wiser to do it at the reactor area. What did I break? Oh, a torch. Because over here, I don't have access to my applied energistic system and I have to use ender chests. Over there, we are already producing the isotopes, so we can make the fuel. So all we need is a dimensional transceiver for the molten flebleble. You can't edit the name. Okay. And we also need fluorine. Okay, first off, I give up. You generate a lot of feathers. Where are you? Where's the owl? Here. Don't give me feathers. Secondly, what I have done is that I have given a higher priority to these melters melting down plutonium-242 and 239. So when the crafter is crafting it, it will automatically put it inside the melters. When there is no space, it will put it inside the ender chest. The melters are going to export the fluid into chemical reactors. We shall mix it with fluorine. As usual, we're going to get 4.5 million upgrades so that the machines actually work. And yeah, we have both fuels. And by using a few salt mixers and mixing every fluid that we have made so far, that is the fuel that we want. It goes inside the molten salt reactor, we get the depleted fuel, and the depleted fuel goes inside the spatial crucible and we get galactic matter. However, you might notice that 6 millibuckets of it will give us 6 buckets. It is used for a lot of things, but it's not consumed that much, so we don't really need the reactor to go that crazy. There's a hole. I have already set up MS. I mean, I have already set up the reactor, literally over there on top of the old one. And well, you might notice that even though it is the same size, we're actually using less cells because we don't really need to produce it that fast. And somebody left me a comment that instead of using fluid ducts, you can use a distributor, this guy over here. The problem is that in order to make it, you need meatball attuned crystal, which comes from Whispering Starlight, which means you actually have to make the reactor like this, then upgrade it. But this works fine, it's just ridiculous. Also, I have no knowledge of molten salt reactors, so I'm going with the exact same setup. Also, I would like to mention the distributor is also not that great because it can only power like 4 cells or something. So instead of having 13 vents, we should have used like 30 of them. This is a bit better, I think. So I have set up the reactors, all the fluids should be automatic, relatively, but we are going to have another problem very soon, which is relatively simple. We do have the fuel, but we also have to produce the coolants, and that is the sodium-potassium mixtures. We have redstone and we have gold. Cryotium and the normal version are being made at our base over here, the thermic replicators, but unfortunately, as you use the coolants, they're going to turn hot. You can use a heat exchanger to turn it back and recycle the coolant, but the heat exchanger is weird. Well, it's not weird, but it's incredibly expensive. So at this very moment, we can't really run the reactors constantly, we have to take breaks. Because I can't really make a heat exchanger at this moment, but if we turn on the reactor, you might notice we're producing waste. It's not a crazy amount of waste, but it's not that bad. Okay, we're getting it here too. It's pumping it out. Okay, that's actually not a big deal. We just do this. For now, we're just going to have a drum for the waste, and unfortunately a trash for the coolants, the hot coolants. Cause I can't realistically keep up with the production. I can add more machines here, but we will run out of sodium-potassium alloy. I can increase that one, but still, it's gonna be painful. You get the gist. It's going to be way better if we manage to make a heat exchanger and put the coolants on a loop. Also, I thought we were not producing it that fast, but this is garbage. Unless you need galactic matter in stupendous quantities, which I don't really see that. Well, I can always add more cells, that's not a big deal. The part where it is a big deal are the coolants. But you see, if we turn on both reactors, we're losing coolant. Both of them. Yeah, anyways, for the moment, we're good. At least the hard part is over. Moving on, we have a lot of work to do, so let's get focused. You might notice that I do have a few stars on my bookmark. These stars that you see over here, and also the future ones, are basically the start of a new age. But they also have another use. They make fluids. Eden Star was the second mythic shell, so it gives us cosmic matter. You know, liquid DNA. And Wildwood Star is chapter 6 as well as galactic matter, which is for the third mythic shell, the resource miners. At first I thought maybe I should have a passive setup for it, but now I'm actually struggling, cause I just made a very rough calculation. Every half an hour or so, I'm going to get a divine star. And the rate that I consume it is just shy of 40 minutes, so there's no point in making this one. The other use that it has is for solar panels, which we don't need them anymore. Eden Star is more or less the same story, because you will get 16 buckets of cosmic matter and that will last for around 45 minutes. The Wildwood Star, which we are going to focus on, gives you only 6 buckets. But it has like 3 resource miners and that's it. So I had them on my bookmark because I thought I need a passive setup, but I changed my mind. We don't. With that being said, let us try to automate Wildwood Star. It does require a few things, including beef, because we need to start cooking that beef inside the infernal furnace and get nuggets. There's a chance of getting nuggets. We also need to be able to automate the meat nuggets, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to have an EMC link for beef. It's going to go inside the dropper. It's something that we have to constantly make, otherwise I wouldn't have done this, but we set the timer to 8 seconds. I think it does cook every 8 seconds. Maybe it's a bit faster. Oh, it doesn't go in. Okay. It's fine, we can force it to go in, like so. Or we can just use a precision dropper. The reason that we are doing this is that in order to make the Heart of Pixonia, we just need the nuggets. We also need to have the Corrales Essentia, a teeny tiny bit of Corrales, and that was fast. Super fast. It's just that the production of nuggets is going to be garbage. And you want 6 of the same type. Okay, it's fine. We just got some beef. I'm not really sure how to mass produce this, but we can't really autocraft this as well. Because the machine that I need in order to input the Essentia inside the Essentia input hatch is apparently buggy and we're not supposed to use it. So I guess I have to craft a few thousand manually. But the Heart of Pixonia is not the only thing that we need. We also need the Rainbow Heart Canister, which is every single heart, and I just checked, we are producing every single heart except the blue, which does mean let us spawn an evoker. Wait, thankfully the spawn egg for an evoker does have a crafting recipe. We also need a few illager data models. We actually need exactly 2 of them, and I will tell you why. But let us spawn some illagers and try to upgrade our data model. Oops, I have to turn this off. Hello boys. Both of them are basic. We go a bit higher. Yeah, advanced is good enough. We go to our compact machine for deep mob learning, and I probably should have extra machines somewhere. Yes, these ones are free. We just have to wait for a success to get a pristine matter, that's it. It's a garbage data model, so the chances are 11%. This is iteration 9. It's 11% chance, so we should get it this time, right? No, percentages in modded Minecraft are basically garbage. This time it should be a success. No, iteration 14 failed. Nice. Oh, finally we got something. Okay. In the other one, we want the blue heart, and we also want totems of undying. Dude, you have failed 16 times. Oh, finally. Good job. We want totems of undying. We can go back home. Totems of undying don't really stack, so it's not a good idea to store it in our applied energistic system. Hence, I do have a drawer over here with a void upgrade. And the storage bus has a higher priority, so everything that we get should go here. So if I take every single totem out and put it in our system like so, yeah, it comes to the drawer. So let us make the rainbow heart. We're missing a lot of things, I know. That is the recipe for the rainbow heart. Can we craft 100? No. Oh, you don't know how to make magma cream. Or relic apple. We don't have the hearts, but that's not a problem. It will be fixed. But can I at least have 10? Thank you. Yeah. That worked. So now we can have a very small pattern for the Wildwood Star. And then I have to set patterns for our draconic infusion thingies. Where's the hole? Here's the hole. I still have to wait for the data models, but ladies and gentlemen, the Wildwood Star. That is chapter 6. While I was working at our reactor area, I also did manage to burn a teeny tiny bit of fuel, which allows us to make something important. There is something in this mod pack called the ultimate mob farm. You do make it with chaos fragments, which we do have a decent number, and a loot fabricator, which we have an extra one. Lovely. More chaos fragments. Sorry. But there you go. That is our ultimate mob farm. Yes, thank you. So apparently this also comes with a certain lasso, and we need to go to the nether, because what I'm looking for are those guys with their skeletons. Let's go home. Insert a lasso to activate. Whoops, wait. Does it have to pop up the items? Can't you just put it inside the chest? You can put it inside the chest. That is good. This is the ultimate mob farm, so the lasso does not take any durability damage. It's surprisingly fast, and actually what we want from it is this, necrotic bone. Because in order to make the heart canisters, that's one of the ingredients, and I don't have a wither skeleton farm. We filter out the rest of the garbage. We just want the bone. This is actually quite neat. There is one more mob that I want. Let's go try to find it. Our mine shaft is here. There are these weird purple creatures which live underground, apart from me, and we need one of them. Actually, that one will do. Hello. They do drop something called corrupted shards, and I do need it for a very important thing later on. These corrupted shards. So if I change the lasso, you should be super fast, because that's the only thing he drops. That's good. And also lag friendly. I think. Good to know. I had a lot of projects in mind for today, but unfortunately I don't really think we have time to do any of them. But regardless, there is one more thing that I absolutely have to do. So there is a very neat purple armor called the Mid-mite armor. It is from Thorium editions and it can be super enchanted. How do you super enchant it? Well, you need the ichor. Sadly, I just realized we can't really super enchant it today, but at least we can make the armor because that's already quite involved. And I just figured out I made the wrong thing. And I also figured out I don't have my arcane workbench. It's fine, we assemble it here temporarily. We need some adamantite fabric. The more the merrier. It's fine, we were out of Perdicio. We're getting the big crystals. My terminal is getting full. I just wanted some fabric. We're going to use this adamantite fabric in order to make the adamantite armor. It also requires a mithrilium resonator. It's not that expensive. And we already have it on auto crafting. And I'm just really guessing the pattern. That's not how you make the armor. The legging. Maybe like so. Oh, we're out of crystals. No, it's not a legging, it's a belt. My bad. And that should be the robe. So we can switch our armor, I suppose. Very fancy. Oh, that's a quest. So although incredibly expensive, this was the easy part. Now we need to upgrade it to Mid-mite. Well, not the super enchanted version, but even the plain one is incredibly expensive. I have been told that this armor does not break. And this happens a lot. Whenever I'm crafting a lot of things in the mythic processors, applied energistics just skips a few items. It comes through your system, but applied energistics doesn't know that. I don't know how it happens. That was a crazy amount of ingredients, but this should be the helmet. Not sure if I have all the essentials. I don't. Oops, I really don't. Stop. Nothing was lost. It's fine. This time I'll check. It took a crazy amount of time to smelt down all the essentials, but I think this time we're good. So let's place down the helmet. And you go. With speed upgrades, eldritch pillars, this takes ages. But at least on a very positive note, it's stable. The helmet is ready. It's not very fancy, I do admit that. But here is the robe. Any moment. The legging. And finally, if nothing goes wrong, the stupid boots. My arcane auto workbench is incredibly slow, that's the problem. So there is an Icorium catalyst that we can use, which gives us 20 times the speed, or Mid-mite block. And it does have a Mid-mite block, okay, never mind. It's just garbage then. The Icorium catalyst is very endgame, I can't really do that. But here is me, in Mid-mite armor, and that thing is glitched. It's fine. But is it unbreakable? That is the question. Also, suddenly I'm walking a bit faster. Damage me. No? We're good? I think we're good. A very teeny tiny thing that I want to do is that I want to visit a dimension. It's called Limbo. Making the warper was surprisingly easy, so let's go. I was falling down. I'm falling down. What's happening? Oh, I know this dimension. We send the warper back, and we're not supposed to go close to the monoliths. Okay, I think they're hostile. Okay, I don't like this. Where are we? I'm way up in the air. This is where reality breaks down, I suppose? I'm still descending. Well, over here, what I'm trying to find is called altered fabric. These are unraveled fabric. I'm looking for these, and apparently you find them in limbo. You know, just in case, let's get a bunch of charm of keeping. If you avoid the line of sight of monoliths, they can't really see you, but I can't find the block that I want. It's just this, and it's called Ancient Fabric, Eternal Fabric, which doesn't break. But apparently if you stand on it, you get teleported somewhere. Yes, somewhere random. The weird part is that where the hell is home? I have been to the wiki, I have no idea how limbo works, so if you have any ideas, I'll be very happy to hear that. In the wiki everybody was just nagging how they have lost all of their items and they don't like the mod, but that was literally everything that was written in the wiki and that's it. So again, if you have any ideas, I'll welcome it, and with that, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's also a good time to wrap up the episode. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. Till the next one. Bye bye.